Hey, loves. Before we dive into today's episode, I want to take a moment to speak directly to those of you who may be in the choice or the season of staying right now in your relationship rather than going. In this episode that's coming up, this incredible conversation you're going to get to enjoy with my guest this month in the community for our workshop and on the podcast, Carmina Bacerra. We talk very passionately about our own experiences with leaving our marriages and a bunch of other gorgeous, amazing things. But I just felt the need to lovingly acknowledge before you dive into this episode that for some of you, this might feel like a sharp contrast to where you're at in your own journey, right? This is a podcast where we're talking about both deciding whether we're going to stay or whether we're going to go. This one has got a lot of go energy in it. So, for those of you that might be in a different space, just know that I see you and I honor the complexity of the choice that you are making. And I want you to know that just because this episode is leaning heavily in one direction, it does not mean that your path or your truth is any less valid. So, as always, take what resonates with you and gently leave the rest. And also just know that I have been thinking about you all specifically a lot lately. I've had a couple people I've coached recently who their answer has been to stay. And I know that the experience of staying comes with its own set of very deep and very courageous work and growth. So, with that in mind, know that I will be sharing in the future more episodes soon where I'm going to be speaking directly to your experience. That's something I haven't focused on as much in the podcast up till now, and it's something I've been really called to do. So there'll be more support, tools, and care for exactly where you are in the future. Know that you are not forgotten. You are not alone. Okay, my loves, let's dive in. Okay, y'all. Woo! This is like the second time we have started this podcast today, and I love it so much. You can hear her gorgeous laugh in the background. I have such a beautiful guest that I get to have on the podcast with all of you today. Her name is Carmina Bacerra, and we have been for a month now trying to make this episode happen. Y'all, we got on today to do it, had all these technical difficulties. And I just have to say, like, we have persevered, haven't we, Carmina?
Yes, 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 yes. So we're extra excited today.
I know there is like so much energy. So I'm really excited to drop in. Just to give you guys some quick background, um, I met Carmina through our mutual burn group that we were a part of, our camp. And in a really tough moment for me, she backed me up and really showed up for me. And we'd never even met, y'all. Um, and it was really inspiring. She reached out, we connected. It was so beautiful. And that just like one little moment. And from there on, I knew once I started the community that I had to have you here to speak to my women. And when I found out that you were a activating your voice coach and speaking your truth, I was like, yes, yes, give me more. So tell me a little, just give everybody a little bit of a backstory because you have an incredible backstory of your route to becoming a voice activation coach. Just give us a little bit of that.
Oh, yes. Well, first off, I want to say yes. I get very fired up on defending, standing up for, and holding space for women and their voice. And you are such a powerhouse. And so I just had to stand up for you um, and then it was just the rest is history, right? We connected so deeply after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so inspired by everything that you're doing, and I'm so honored to be here today. And I live for this, I live for activating, supporting, and freeing women's voices. And so
Mm.
how I got to this point is quite an interesting story because it has different avenues. I was in television for a long time in Spanish television in LA, and I was really young, and Telemundo, Univision, all these different huge networks, and I hadn't done any inner work whatsoever. I was just one of
Mm.
those people that was trying to look hot, sound hot, and all the superficial things. I'm not going to judge that part of me now because she was wild and fun, very very fun and really hot, but Lord, she did not know what was going on.
I love
She was
knowing
just
this side of you because I've only ever met your like, you know, grounded, done the work. So I'm like, oh yeah, this is where we gotta all have that spicy side too.
Yes. So during that time, even though I had not done any work and I did not have any emotional intelligence, I did have a really soft space in my heart for people that would get really uncomfortable when I would put the microphone in front of them. So they would send me out
Mm.
on a certain job. I would have to interview people. Most of them were celebrities or professional athletes, but my favorite were just random people on the street. And when
Mm.
I would interview these random people on the street, they would get so nervous that I just wanted to hug them and like take their nerves away, It was just this
Yeah.
feeling I had. And so I started experimenting again. I did not know what I was doing. I started experimenting, sending them waves of color from my body to their body. Like I would see waves of color coming out of my body to theirs. And I was doing it selfishly. Back then it was selfishly because I knew that the networks that I had to turn in a good interview. If I turned in
Yes.
an interview where the other person was nervous, I looked bad and I could lose my job. So it was
Wow.
just like,
I would never have thought of, but because I've never been in that world. But yeah, that makes so much sense that their performance reflects on you to yeah, to a huge extent.
yeah, so that was like the top layer, and then the second layer, I'm obviously in front of this person and I see them sweating profusely and getting so nervous that I would feel
Mm.
so much for them. I'd be like, and also I'm really tall, so I would usually tower over people and with heels even more, and I'd be like, I just want to hug them like my little
I
baby,
got you. You're like, but I can't do that. So
Yeah.
what'll we do instead? I'm going to send you energetic,
Waves of
like
color.
waves of
Yeah,
color.
waves of color that would come out of my body into theirs, and then all of a sudden it started working. Yeah, that exhale that you just gave, that's exactly what would happen. They would be like, oh, and then they could actually speak. Because at first they would just like stumble on their words, they couldn't even speak. And it's what really broke my heart at first is that it's people when you're standing on the street, you've seen it with like newscasters or news reporters. When you're standing on the street with a camera and a mic, some people are really excited to get in front of the camera. They're like,
Yes.
look at me, look at me, look at me. And so there's people that those people would get so excited, but once the microphone was in front of them, then they couldn't speak. And so I just wanted for that excitement to be expressed, for them to be
Mm-hmm.
able to actually get it out, whatever they wanted to say, whatever they approached us with so much excitement for them to actually say it. My doggy is excited too.
I love
So
it.
so those waves of color started working,
Making a
and
difference.
their nervous system would calm down. I could see them calm down. I could see their breath get slower. I could see their shoulders
Mm.
drop. And at the end of the interview, they would just hug me and be like, I don't know what happened, but I'm so grateful because I felt like I was going to pass out. And all of a sudden, I was so calm and I was able to speak. Thank you so much. And
Wow.
even because I would also interview like CEOs of companies for like sales and things like that. And they started requesting me to be the one to interview them. And all of a sudden it was like the
Oh.
best reporter, quote unquote. And I was like, whoa, okay, this is my ego loved it, right? But at the same time, they were feeling so good in front of me. And so
Yeah.
years later, I got enrolled into a transformational training by a dear friend of mine, Preston Smiles. Shout out to Preston. He was like, "Oh my God, I just did this transformational training, self development training. It changed my life."
And this is
And
the first time you'd heard about anything like this?
anything besides like
Wow.
religion, this was the first time I had heard about anything.
I
At
love
this
that.
seriously, at like
Yeah.
I had only read Conversations with God at that point, and it
Mhm.
was really eye-opening, but I had no idea about self-development. When I was younger, my parents tried to take me to therapy, and I was like, "Nope, I'm not going to talk to anybody. I'm not going to open my mouth, super rebellious,
Yeah.
all the things." So, I go to this training and I see the facilitator walk in and start breaking us all down. All he knew was our names. We had our name tag, right? All he knew was
Yeah.
my name. And he looks at me and he just goes, "These are all your limiting beliefs. These are all your patterns. This is what holds you back. This is what you've been doing your whole life. I can see it in your," like, he's just started breaking me down. And I was like,
What
what
is
is
this
this?
magic?
And I want to do this for the rest of my life. And so I did all
Wow.
those trainings and I developed myself as a facilitator for those self development trainings and as a coach. And it took all my blood, sweat, and tears to do that, and years and years and years. But then I started facilitating those trainings with different companies in different countries all over the world. Really powerful, powerful work. And then after years of doing that, I combined the two. My love
Mm.
for media, for television, for having people get on camera, for public speaking, my love and passion for that, and self development. I married the two because the true core of any self development trainings is to peel back all the layers to get back to who we all were from 0 to 7 years old before
Mm.
all the contamination, the trauma, the
Programming.
parents, the abuse, the programming, society, the news, all the things, right? Like,
Yeah.
of course there's a lot of self-development trainings that specialize in a lot of different things, but the core of all the inner work is that, to get back to who we were when we were born.
That
And
purity
so,
of like, what is your frequency, your message, your essence,
yes,
unfiltered through all the bullshit of everybody else's.
yes. So I was like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh. So if I start coaching people through all these breakthroughs with their voice to get back to the core message, the core frequency, the core nucleus of who they were when they were born, then it's the same thing. And so I was like, like huge light
These
bulb
totally go
moment.
together.
Yes, developed my curriculum, and I've been doing that for over 15 years. I've had over 800 graduates, like Oscar winners, Grammy winners, all the like shamans, yoga teachers, authors, all, you name it, right? It's
Yeah.
every single person needs this type of work, and I feel like the voice is something we don't think about a lot. Breath work is very trendy right now and it's very powerful, but we hear it a lot. And then yoga and meditation, but the voice, I feel like it's this, we don't
No.
hear it. Whenever I say I'm
No.
a voice coach, they're like, for singers, and I'm like, no. So it's a whole new thing that I feel like we're just starting to tap into.
I
And so,
agree.
yeah,
I have friends now through the ecstatic dance community that understand the power of sound and vibration, and even like the words you're speaking, creating that vibration in your body that can heal you through speaking it. But until I'd met them, I had never thought of my voice being a tool that
Mhm.
could be used for healing
Mhm.
myself.
It's
I mean,
it's a channel for healing, it's a channel for medicine for others. It is a
mhm.
purification channel, it is a connection it's everything. It really is everything. I'm such a nerd for the voice.
I am so here for the nerding. We will I am here for the geeking out. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so beautiful to get some perspective of like I loved hearing how you kind of going through your own journey and you finding these deeper layers to yourself and then combining those for other people and taking a medium that can be used in all sorts of different ways. But I think you're most passionate about using it for the good of transmitting that clear vision that somebody has in their life, which I'm talking about all the time with my women as far as like their soul calls or their inner knowings, right? These things that these gifts that you have or this purpose that is calling to you or this path in your life, that in order to do that thing, you have to be able to speak your truth. Specifically, I
Yes.
think with your people, right? It may be a little bit more career oriented, but I'd love to hear you talk because I know we mentioned you going through your own process of that journey with your voice and kind of how your voice helped you go through this path with divorce,
Mhm,
right? Like,
mhm.
not only can your voice be used through media, but I think even just in those daily interactions with other people, we are crafting an image, a reality through the words that we're speaking,
For sure.
right?
I mean, yes, I these difficult conversations that we sometimes avoid, uh, the the telling someone I love you when you feel so vulnerable because you don't know if they're gonna say it back, or the having
Mhm.
to say, "It's over, I have fallen out of love," and you
Yes.
know someone is gonna be heartbroken. Those are that is public speaking. Like I always
Oh.
say, it's not just the work starts way before, because people come to me and they're like, "Give me the tools, give me the tips. I have a TED Talk tomorrow." And I'm like, "Well, when was the last time you cried and you allowed yourself to be seen vulnerable, and to be
Oh.
heard vulnerable?" That's a public speaking training right there. So,
Wow.
anyway, going to my story,
Yeah.
it's really interesting how the universe works because I ended up marrying someone who has pretty much the same story I do. He was a TV host, and then he became a coach and facilitator, and we
Oh
had the
my
same mentor.
god. I don't remember this part. I know you told me he like was a very similar with the media and
Yeah,
being but becoming a coach and facilitator as well. Wow.
we had the same mentor. And so let's see, where do I begin? So in the beginning, I we were both developing ourselves as facilitators.
Mhm.
Our like television careers were kind of on their tail end, let's say. Uh, and we were both very passionate about supporting people, helping
Yeah.
people transform. And when we were both in this community. It's called this training is called MITT. This
Mhm.
company is called MITT in Los Angeles. Mastery and Transformational Training. Look it up. It's powerful. Go to these trainings. They're so powerful. And they're
Yeah.
all over the world. There's other companies. And so we were very known in the community. We were like the Jay-Z and Beyonce of the community, right? And yeah, it's
You are setting this story up. I am hooked. Yes, tell me
it's
more.
it sounds very egotistical, and it was.
And it was true. It was true.
Yeah. So, when we fell in love, like we were friends for about 10 years before this. Not best
Wow.
friends, but friends, like in the same group. We had gone to Burning Man together. We had done ayahuasca together. We had done many, many, many things together,
Wow.
spent birthdays together, like 10 years of friendship together, known each other's exes, etc. And so we fell in love at this women's training, at the graduation of this women's training that I was a captain for. Like I was facilitating the staff, and he
Mm-hmm.
comes in to support the training, right? Like the graduation, to honor the women. We had done a lot of deep work in there, and he's standing in front of me, and the main facilitator asks the men that came in to honor the women non-verbally. And so he's
Mm.
standing in front of me. He said he just felt pulled to come towards me. It wasn't like a romantic energy or anything, but he felt a pull to come stand in front of me and to honor me, all our years of friendship and everything. And so she's saying, honor this woman in front of you non-verbally, just touch her face and see the power that she is and all of these things, right? And I'm bawling. He's bawling. And all of a sudden, I hear a voice that tells me, "This is your husband." And I was like,
Whoa.
"What?" I resisted the voice. I was like, "What? Caduce? Like, what? That's my homie, you know?" Like,
Mm-hmm.
um, but after that, it ended, and I was just blown away by the voice, the download that I got,
Yeah.
and so I kept it quiet for about a month, just being with it until he kind of came to it and started pursuing me.
Wow.
And once he pursued me, it was fireworks. It was
Just
explosions of connection. We're both very charismatic, very huge personalities, and very known in this community, right? And so
so
when
everybody's probably rooting for this then
oh
as well.
yes. Oh yes, it
Like,
was like wow. And I'm saying all this to say, our mentor, when I tell her I'm in love with Caduce, she says, "Huh, this is interesting. How is this going to work?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And she goes, "Well, Caduce can't share the spotlight."
oh.
And she goes, "Yeah, no, like it's really difficult for him to share the spotlight. Like he loses his center when he
His
has to share the
balance.
spot." And I didn't make too much of it, and I was like, "Oh no, whatever. We co-facilitate things all the time. It's all good, you know. We've all done this, right?" One of those like, "Oh no, I'm not going to listen to this." It's and you know, one of those messages that I probably should have listened to.
We
Probably
all
would
have
have saved
those.
me a lot of pain, a lot of pain. But hey,
Hindsight's always 2020. Always.
yeah.
Wow. So right at the beginning, you have someone who knows both of you, who has worked
Mhm,
extensively with both of you, saying
mhm,
this looks like a bit of a mismatch
mhm,
because he can't share the spotlight and you're
mhm.
obviously this powerhouse.
Huge energy, like huge energy, and I very much can share the spotlight. I love for all of us to be in the spotlight, but I am like
Mhm.
I'm automatically in the spotlight, like no matter where
Yeah.
I go, what I do,
Yeah, it's
it's
part
just
of
a
who you
thing.
are. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm an Aries, I'm fire, I'm an extrovert, like all the things. I'm a generator,
Yeah.
like all across the board, all of the personality tests we can do, they're just all the same.
This is
So
me. So
yeah, and
when
I
so you go in like kind of, it sounds to me like love conquers all kind of feeling,
mhm,
like
mhm,
not going to stop us, there's nothing we can't
mhm,
overcome. When
mhm.
in the marriage do you start realizing, oh, wait a second, and what kind of tipped you off?
Wait, so there's more. So
Yeah, yeah.
before we're even married, still during this
Oh, so
phase of like we're both
dating.
facilitators, now we're dating, like it's full on, we're so in love. I got assigned to make up whatever workshop, whatever theme I chose, and to create a workshop, right? And I chose the art of allowing. And I
Oof.
used and I developed a workshop on. I'm very gifted in developing a workshop or like a curriculum and like tying in the distinctions and the breakthroughs and all the things. And
Oof.
so and so the art of allowing, because that was the story of our love, right? So I interwove, is that a word? Anyway,
I love
I
that
I
word.
wove in our love story to the art of allowing and how it manifested, etc. And so I facilitated, it was like for a final exam for my facilitation process, right? That he was in
Mm-hmm.
also. And so when I would facilitate this, he was always in the room. And so I would always give him like a big like acknowledgement in the room. And so
Mm.
all of this made it possible for me to fall in love with this king, you know? And so
Mm.
I take responsibility for just giving so much, lifting him so much. And so that uh, in him the quote unquote struggling with like sharing the spotlight, the reason why I didn't notice it is because I thought he was always cheering me on, and now it turns out he was cheering on the workshop that highlighted him at the end of it. He was the center of the workshop even though it was my workshop, but I designed it to for
Without
him to
even
be
knowing you were doing that,
yeah,
huh?
yeah,
Totally unconsciously centering him.
yes.
Yes.
And I
Oh,
have not thought of that since now. I mean, till until now. It's wild how.
it's the Kool-Aid we all end up
Mhm.
drinking as
Mhm.
women.
Mhm.
It's still, I think probably
Mhm.
till the day I die, I may be having to actively realize when I am just centering a male or a male's perspective or a male's voice,
Mhm.
um, just because that's the
Mhm.
safest thing to do often in the world we live in.
Yes, and now that connecting back to my marriage, whenever people would ask him, "What how'd you fall in love with Carmina?" and he would say how powerful of a facilitator she was, and I then asked him, like, was that strategic? And he was like, yeah, I knew that you were gonna, like, we were gonna be successful with you. Like, we started our company together, like this public speaking
Mm,
training, we started it together. And so he saw my voice as gold,
something that was
you know?
valuable. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that was beautiful because we started the company together and it empowered and supported and healed a lot of people of a lot of
Mm-hmm.
things, and then I continued it on my own, but that is what started a long list of moments in which I prioritized uplifting him because I already had that little information of he can't share the spotlight. And I would always
Yes.
excuse it with, I'm okay not being in the spotlight. He needs it or else he'll be thrown off.
Oh, fascinating.
And since it doesn't affect me if I sit back, then I'll sit back because it doesn't throw me off to not be in the spotlight, right? So even
And
though we
yet
would,
you even, but obviously you noticed, you thought this is how you could kind of fix that, right? Is you accommodate, but obviously even in the accommodating, it wasn't enough, correct?
no, 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 no. It was not my responsibility to uh,
Mm,
dim my light or to quiet my voice or to be worried about someone else being intimidated when I was shining.
mm. Yeah, and I think this is I don't, it's almost like a deal with the devil kind of that we make as women, thinking, because we're so good at seeing our partner's insecurities, or what do they need, how can we help them, how can we support them, how can we give them that leg up, not realizing that in some ways, I see this a lot with my clients, we can end up, and not that this is what happened in your instance, but we can end up handicapping them as well, because that's work they need to be doing, is getting over that shit or working
Mm-hmm.
through that piece,
Mm-hmm.
instead of us always cushioning or accommodating, or because then when you finally stop doing that, they're not they can't handle the full you.
No, it scares them. There's
Yes,
a
and
lot
we
of scared men out there right now, and there's a lot of really powerful men out there right now that really love to see us in our power,
mm-hmm.
you know? And so we need to
Yeah.
really work on our discernment because I sure as heck didn't.
Oof. Yeah. So I'm totally curious about that. Let's do a little rabbit hole there.
Mhm.
Looking back at yourself back then, because I think a lot, at least I know for me, you are going to be a totally different flavor for a lot of women on my podcast. You're going to be, you meeting someone in this, like, you're both facilitators, you're both following this path of healing, you're both, they are going to be hearing this like I was, thinking, this is it. This is the person. This is
Mhm.
all the things, right? You're the most special people in your community. Everybody's rooting for you.
And
So look,
he's doing the inner work. Like
that's
I
what I
kept,
mean.
yes,
This is
yes,
what I,
yes,
that's what I'm
yes,
saying,
yes.
Carmina. Like, a lot
Mhm.
of the women listening to my podcast, they've got partners who are not doing the inner work right now. So I think there's so much to glean from you
Mhm.
on like an even higher level of what does that discernment look like looking back? Where were the moments where you were kind of like, it's not that, not that big of a deal, or we already know you kind of accommodated in hearing that about him, instead of going, ooh, wait a second, that doesn't really sound like a fit because I'm a pretty big personality,
Mhm.
right? Your brain went to, oh, well, I can make space for that because it's okay. I don't need to
Mhm.
always be big. What were some other areas though that you said now when you said, we need to be better at discerning?
Mhm.
Tell me more about that piece.
Yeah, that's where somatics come in, right? I, yeah, I, one of my modalities and what I specialize in is somatic healing. And that's how I approach healing the voice. And what somatic healing means is that most of the therapy that we're used to is cognitive, which means that we're talking to a therapist and the therapist is asking us what's in our mind, what are our
Mm-hmm.
thoughts, what's going on in our thought process, what are the patterns that we have, what did you think about this, what triggered you, where is this taking you, when was the first moment you thought about that, etc.
Yeah.
Somatic healing is focused more on the body, the sensations, the feeling, what triggers, where it's triggered in your body, how
Yes.
we can move it, where things are stored, where trauma gets stored in our body. I don't know if you're familiar, you probably are, but The Body Keeps the Score is one of the books that I
Yes.
Highly recommend everyone and
Yes.
anyone to read. And although some people are like, well, I haven't gone through trauma because or that deep of a trauma because they focus on veterans, but it just shows you how it manifests in the body
Yeah.
if you're new to like trauma being stored in the body. And so how we discern is
Mhm.
our body is constantly sending us signals and messages. Constantly.
Yes.
And my body is not sending me more than yours. My body, because I studied somatic healing, is not speaking to me louder than you. No, it's just that I have
Mm.
practiced listening to it
Listening.
because all of our bodies are communicating with us. How our bodies communicating with us is through body sensations.
Mm.
What are body sensations? They are vibrations. It is hot, cold. It
Mhm.
is a puncture. It is a itch. It is a pain. It is a frozen
Heaviness,
shoulder. It is a stomach
tightness.
ache. Like, how
Yeah.
many of you have felt when you go to a party or a dinner and you're sitting next to someone and all of a sudden you're exhausted when you had all the energy in the world when you got there,
Mhm.
and it's your body telling you that this person you should stay away from because they're
Yeah.
draining your energy. And so that is how our body is communicating with us. Or we end up dating someone, and when after we break up with them, we're like, oh my gosh, I just realized that I used to get sick all the time with this person.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
whatever it was, my stomach would get sick all the time, or, whatever. That's another thing. Our body's constantly telling us who to talk to, who not to talk to, what job to take, what job not to take. And I
Mhm.
teach my clients how to be their own human pendulum. And
Oh,
so,
I love that image. I've never thought of it that way.
yeah, how to be able to decide what to do, what not to do, etc. And so how we can refine this deep listening to the
This
sensations that are always
tool.
there. They're always there. Even people try to want to believe my body doesn't communicate with me. Yes, it does. Every single one
Mm.
of our bodies are communicating with us, but we haven't practiced listening to it. And so one of the ways in which we can refine that is by having daily check-ins, right? Really
Mm.
simple daily check-ins. What are my current thoughts, current emotions, and current
Ooh.
body sensations? That's
Mm.
it. Like
That's so simple. I love
midday,
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
current thoughts, current emotions, current body sensations.
The awareness
And
levels, bringing that
yeah,
awareness back down into the body.
yeah,
What's the weather?
let's practice it. Like, what are your current body sensations right now?
Yeah, in my body, I'm definitely like jittery because we're
Uh-huh.
recording the podcast, which is it's like bubbly kind of champagne sensations. I feel a lot
Where?
of those are kind of rippling up from my stomach,
Uh-huh.
up kind of up into my chest, and then in my heart it feels really warm because I've been
Uh-huh.
wanting to do this with you for so long. And
Mm-hmm.
and what I'm noticing is as you're bringing me out of my head into the body, I'm getting so much more pleasure out of this moment here with you. And that train,
Yeah.
I love it. It's like
Wow. Wow. Very potent.
we're just gonna enjoy that beautiful I where are you by the way? You're in LA, right?
I'm in LA, and my I'm at my parents' house
I
visiting
love
them,
it.
and the train passes right behind the house. This is the
I
house I was
love it.
born in.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
beautiful. Like that moment, if I wasn't connected into my body, might have felt a little bit more, the mind wants to control everything and it's got to go a certain way. And But since you had me in my body, I could just like laugh and enjoy the experience of what's unfolding.
The
So,
surprise is the unknown. Uh-huh.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
just like, "Oh, we're safe. We're good. I just get to enjoy this. I don't have to do anything." Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm feeling all of that in my body, and it's I didn't realize how up in my head I was till you directed me down there.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah. What
I'm
about you?
so
Tell me yours. Tell me yours back.
I feel tingling in my feet and champagne bubbles in my chest as well.
Mhm.
You and I are very connected. We knew that since the first time we spoke on the phone. I feel electricity in my hands. My hands constantly feel electricity. I have
Mm.
healing hands, so they constantly have electricity. I feel a bit of tightness in my back.
Mm.
And to take it a bit of a step deeper,
Yes, please.
once we have practiced what are the sensations in my body every day, right? Like, oh, what are my
Mhm.
sensations right now, just in the car, right? You're on your way to pick up the kids. What are my sensations right now? Well, I feel this or that in my chest. Great. Just to check in. No right or wrong, just
Yeah.
observing. That's it. Then eventually we can deepen it into, okay, body, what are you trying to tell me with this
Ooh.
sensation? And it will answer us. It's the most fascinating thing. It will answer us. And we can either practice it by giving it a voice or by allowing our hand to write whatever it wants to write.
Ooh. Yeah, the free write.
Yeah,
Just
freehand journaling,
seeing
exactly.
what flows out.
Exactly. So,
This is what
next,
you're meaning with the discernment. The
yes,
discernment is going to this knowing through the body
yes.
that knows the things you can't know cognitively.
No, because cognitively, guess what we would do? We would write the checklist. He had, like, talking about dating, right? This
Mhm.
guy's hot. He went to Harvard. He,
You guys had the
he,
checklist in your marriage. You had the
totally,
checklist.
totally, completely.
Yeah.
And my body, it was like, nope, nope.
So wait, so you're telling me are you wait, so check in with me. Are you telling me that there was a part of you when you got married to him in your body that maybe was saying, there's something off, but you overrode that with your mind?
Yes, I got frozen shoulders. My shoulders froze up. I could not lift them. I could not lift my shoulders. I went to chiropractors. I went to
Whoa.
it was so painful. So painful. And the thing that blurred it all
Yes, tell
that
me.
is that it was a fairy tale. It was the, oh my gosh, he's a facilitator. I'm a facilitator. He was a TV host. I was a TV host. We are
Yep.
quote unquote Jay-Z and Beyonce. Like, it's all perfect. That's why the freaking Disney movies
I know.
traumatize us.
I know.
They traumatize us
It's
because,
all that external looking so good. It's when we make choices, which a lot of women that I coach, that's what it is. Like, well, he seemed like he was a good guy. He seemed like he was going to make the money. All the things. My first
yes.
marriage, same thing. He was good
Mhm.
looking. He was going to make money. He was Mormon. He was all the checklist.
Yeah.
But on my wedding day, same thing. I was in like a full blown body panic getting into my wedding dress. Like
I could
some
not stop crying on my wedding day.
mm,
I
how
had a
many
cr-
I hope lots of
oh,
women listening are feeling very validated in this moment because I have heard so many stories of women being like either on their wedding day or before the wedding, just in their body, not feeling settled or
Mhm.
excited or present.
Mhm.
And you're about to get married. But
Mhm.
we still go. So what, tell me, like, what made you still go through with it? Because here you are, this facilitator that's like all about somatic stuff.
Well, I hadn't gone through somatic training yet.
Oh, there we go.
Now I'm a
There's the
somatic
answer.
healer 7 years after I divorced him. But yes, so I mean,
So
I was
you're
a
saying,
transformational trainer then,
and that's a
and
lot of similar to what the coaching I was
yeah.
trained in is a lot of mental, still, it's a lot of cognitive, and it
Hmm.
helps.
Hmm.
But 100% where I've gone in the last few years
It's the
is
body. Yeah.
the body
Yeah.
knows.
Yeah, it
So you
has the
didn't have that
wisdom.
back then.
No,
Mm.
our body has the wisdom. Like I'm constantly telling
Mm.
my clients, let the body lead and let the mind follow.
Oh, yes.
When we let our body lead, oh, it will lead us, and not meaning like let the body lead like who makes you horny or who turns you on, because some people misinterpret that, right? Like especially
Well, this is,
men, when I
oh my
say
God.
let the body lead, they're like, "Oh God, if I let my body lead." So I guess
Like,
when
that's not,
no, that's not what I
that is
mean.
exactly. That's, and I think of that more when we say let the body lead, we're talking about this intuitive
Yes.
knowing that the body has rather than our urges or our addictions,
Mhm.
right? That's
Mhm.
that's kind of all that stuff, that programming that we're working through, kind of sifting
Mhm.
and navigating to connect in with like what does it feel like when I'm really getting the intuitiveness from my body, rather than perhaps all the programming I think we get in our body, the ways we use our body. We can even use our body to escape what our body's telling us at times, or
Completely.
using substances or people to
Mhm.
escape what our body's
Mhm.
telling
Mhm.
us.
Totally. And when we really listen to it, it will contract or expand.
Yes, I'm so glad you said that. Like, tell me more, because I am obsessed with how simple that is. The feeling of
Mhm.
like you think of something, and if your body is moving towards it
Mhm.
versus pulling
Mhm.
away.
Yes.
Tell me.
I keep things so practical and so simple because I am the type of
Love
person that
it.
I'm just like just oranges and apples. That's it. Explain it to me with oranges and apples. I don't want to hear about the mystical, the woo-woo, the all the shit. Just oranges and apples, you know? And that's how I explain it too. So every single time somebody asks you something, or you need to make a decision, or you need to figure out, aside from becoming your own human pendulum, which that is a deeper practice that I teach my
Mm-hmm.
clients, so work with me. but
Yes,
but
hell,
the
I literally was just thinking. I was like, "Fuck, I want to work with Carmina."
yes, everyone is welcome. But if you pay attention and you do a check-in whenever you're going to make a decision, practice with small decisions, right? Should I go to this
Mm-hmm.
dinner? As you ask that, your body will expand or contract. When I'm in front of a certain person, does my body expand or contract? And what I mean by contract is, do my shoulders want to cave in? Do I want to protect my heart and kind of
Mm-hmm.
cocoon it in and arch my back to protect it? Or does my heart and my shoulders open to receive? Because our body does those things without us even knowing sometimes, and we don't pay attention. And that's its way of deciding yes or no.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm so curious, tying this back in to your marriage and realizing, like, okay, this isn't a fit. You didn't have the somatic tools back then, but did you somehow find a way back to your body knowing to get out of that?
No. No,
You
I
just got
wish.
out through the pure, like,
Well,
mental.
he had a psychosis.
Mm,
And
mm,
so I saw signs of narcissism,
mhm.
and but they weren't, I didn't see them as red flags because again, he was doing the work. We were both doing the same work, but just because someone is in the room doesn't mean they're going deep. It doesn't mean,
Oh, let
even if
that
they
land.
want to, totally. Even if they want to,
Yes.
even if they think they are,
Mm,
some people can't. They just
yeah.
can't access those parts of them. And so he had a psychosis, and it started with insomnia.
Mm,
And if you don't sleep for just 3 nights, they declare you clinically insane. So,
whoa.
I mean, you're a mom, you've had sleepless nights. I have had sleepless nights. I'm not a mother, but I've partied or, you know, or
That might
done.
be one of my favorite lines. I'm like, yes. Yes. I'm not
Wow.
a mother, but I've partied. I'm like, that was the life I wanted to live.
Talk about authenticity. Wow. Um,
So, yes, sleepless nights.
yeah, you feel discombobulated the next day. You're like
Yes.
losing your mind the next day. You're like, I don't even
Yeah.
know what time it is, what's happening. I don't like, I'm hanging by a thread, right? To like get to the
Mm-hmm.
schedule, get to the things. And so imagine I had so much compassion for him because the days would pass and the days would pass and he could not sleep. So here
Oh,
I was
wow.
seeing at the time my love suffer so much. And the
Mm-hmm.
clock was ticking. And the more days would pass, I knew his brain was just being affected by it. And so this lasted about 9 months, and by the end of it, he was a completely different person. He would
Ooh.
say that he wished I was blonde, and he would say these things that it wasn't him anymore.
Wow.
And I knew that he didn't mean any of those things, and I knew that we had a wonderful marriage before that. But he's the one that asked me for the divorce, and toward the end
Wow.
there was a lot of paranoia, and so there was blame on me causing his psychosis and all this stuff. So I suffered a lot,
Yeah.
because the person that I loved so much, that I thought was the love of my life, to turn and blame you for the most painful thing they've ever experienced was so painful for me.
Yeah.
And so toward the end, it was like he would growl at me and turn into, it was just, it was, I would run out of the house, like run so that um, it wouldn't get violent. It never got violent. I'm very grateful for that. We had support around us constantly, whether it
Yeah.
was my family, his family, or friends. But toward the end of it, because I was blamed, because he was paranoid, because it wasn't him. And I just want to reiterate that, like, whenever I say all of this stuff, it wasn't him. It was whatever he was going through.
Mm.
He, it felt almost like something else entered him and
Mm.
took over, and it was no longer my husband, and it was someone
Mm.
else, something else running the ship.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
by the end of it, because I was blamed and gaslit,
Yeah.
then I believed a lot of this stuff, and then it was so
Mm.
traumatizing for me. And so not only had I silenced my voice so that it wouldn't you know.
increase or add more to what he was going through.
Yeah, and even before the psychosis, I had silenced my voice so that he wouldn't be so sensitive to me, or I wouldn't shine too bright, or I wouldn't throw him off, or I wouldn't make him feel uncomfortable, or whatever
Yep.
the case may be. So that was already happening before, and then when all that happened, it was just like I was a scared little girl that felt like
Mhm.
was going through abuse, not by my
Yeah.
husband, but by whatever was going on in his mind.
Yeah.
And so,
I I want to make a quick point here that I think is so important for the times that we find ourselves in, which is the amount of psychological pressure I just look around me and I'm like, it is really fucking hard to be a human in the world that we live in. Like, it is not set up to support us. We don't have
mm-mm,
even in communities like that, still going and facing your shadows. And I have so much compassion when I talk to my clients and they talk about their husbands not wanting to do the work, right?
mm-hmm,
Because it is hard. And as kind of shown with your husband, sometimes it does not go the route that we expect, or the darkness is so deep you can't go there and it takes this other route. And I want to acknowledge the pain of loving somebody through that and ultimately having to choose to leave. Like, there are so many women going through this right now, not to the level that you went through, but like when you talk about like not being able to follow your body or your discernment, I feel like a lot of that comes because we just empathically care about these humans in our lives that are hurting.
yeah, I know. I thank you for that. It got so bad that I no longer cared about what I was feeling or what was going on in me because every second mattered, and I just wanted to save his life,
Mm,
you know? Um,
yeah.
and yes, like you said, so many people are probably right now going through that. And
Yes.
it although it's a very selfless and beautiful thing to do, but I will never forget I call it the blender, being in the blender,
Mm,
because this is a term that I use with my clients a lot. When you're in it, when you're so in it that it's so hard to see anything it's you're just in it and it's just survival mode. It's literally 1 minute at a time. You can't even think ahead or think behind. It's just 1 minute at a time. And there's nothing to grab onto almost, and
mm.
completely in it. And one of my friends telling me, Carmina, you were not born to be a caretaker. And I was like, what do you mean? In my mind, I was still like, no, he's going to get better every single day. Every every single day I would wake up thinking, today he's going to sleep. Today is going to be the day that he's going to sleep, and he's going to go back to being who he was, you know? And
Mm.
I it just hit me that day. I was like, "Oh, okay, what she means is that this is gonna last."
It's consuming my entire
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
I no longer have anything outside of this role, this relationship, this
Mhm.
marriage.
Mhm. And I'm not even gonna sit here and try to pretend like I was all tough or courageous or brave, because I'm truly grateful that he asked me for a divorce. 'Cause I
Mm,
sat one
uh,
day I sat one day, one of the many days that I ran out of the house so there wouldn't be any violence. Like sprinted out of the house because he was gonna chase me, and I just sat in, like, I lost him finally, and I sat on a rock and I looked up and I was talking to God, and I was just like, God, I said in the altar that I would, through sickness or health, and this is who I chose, and this is who you chose for me, and I am giving myself over to you, and I am going to take care of this man, whatever it
Mm,
takes.
mm.
So I was willing to give up everything. At that point, I had zero clients, I had zero life. 24 hours a day was taking care of him so that he wouldn't kill himself,
Wow.
and so that he would sleep, and taking him to the doctor, and like it was all consuming. And so
Yeah.
I was like, I surrender. I this is going to be my life. And
He
I'm very
said,
grateful that he was like, I don't love you anymore. I don't even know who you are. I don't recognize you. I'm not in love with you. Why did I marry you? And I was like, it was very painful, but I was like, and we got a divorce because he asked me for it. I
wow.
would have stayed to take care of this human, even though it probably meant violence.
Oh, I am so grateful that you're sharing, Carmina, because you are in this story. There's just so many themes that I find I'm often sharing with my clients. Often they're on the other end of this on the side. I think um because they're the one that's coming and asking for a divorce.
Mm,
But this moment of like seeing how divorce is the right choice. Like
yeah.
in that moment, like what the two of you were doing was not working. It was getting worse and worse and
No,
worse.
I was gonna end up being abused.
Yes. And this moment, like when even when you say him saying, like, I want a divorce, I like felt my body relax. And I
Yeah.
often, where I see it a lot with my women is, their husbands in trying to do the work for a lot of them or just trying to make the marriage work and stay in it start to go into a psychosis. Like they start changing their entire personalities or they start trying to be a different person. And you just start to see a lot of mental illness
Mhm.
developing within marriages that are like overlong. Like
Mhm.
we're not actually growing and building anymore. That has passed. And now our brains are starting to feed and destroy each other.
Mhm.
And I've often said, like, tried to reframe this seeing divorce as often one of the most compassionate decisions you can make when the alternative is we are facing like a full blown, exactly, like you're spiraling into psychosis. I'm going to end up getting abused even worse. Like
Mhm.
neither of us are thriving.
No, absolutely not.
No.
I remember because I'm one of the few in a very large Mexican family. We love to have kids, y'all. I don't have kids, but Mexicans have a lot of kids. I'm generalizing, but I have a humongous family, and I'm
Family.
one of the few out of like so many cousins that is divorced. And that
Mhm.
really, really messed with me,
Mhm.
and like I'm a failure in like all of these things. My
All of
mom,
the conditioning around, yeah, you stay married.
the pain that I felt from calling my mom in one of those moments that I ran out, fearing for my life, and calling her in desperation and her telling me, fight for your marriage.
Yep.
It's like I heard her say, go back and die.
Oh. And This is the heart, Carmina. I am so thankful you're sharing this because this is the intersection right now of where I feel like we are waking up to these old messages of
Mhm,
just marriage at all costs. You
mhm.
must stay married. And I see you now on this episode with me, and I'm like, oh my God, I am so glad you didn't
I'm so happy
stay.
and I'm so free and I'm so, so, so grateful. I'm so grateful we didn't have children. Oh, I'm
Yes.
so grateful. I was liberated. I have the universe is wild. So I have, after me, he was with another lovely, lovely woman who we happened to live blocks from each other in a whole nother country in
Oh,
Mexico.
wow.
They lived together in Colorado and we both ended up in Mexico City living blocks from each other and we became dear friends because we shared so many stories and we just held each other in our pain from being with the same
Oh,
person. They didn't end up getting
wow.
married, but just seeing the pain that is rippling like after me and after like all the women after, I'm just so grateful. So, 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 so grateful. And
Yeah.
and yeah,
I love that.
it's a blessing and a gift that I'm not there.
Oh my God. Thank God. And thank God that you had this is why I'm so proud of the work you do too. Like your friend had the voice to say to you, you were not made to be a caretaker. And thank God in
Mhm.
that moment, she said that to you because
Mhm.
this is that when we talk about those soul knowings, those gifts, those paths, that thing that you were sent to the earth to bring about,
Mhm.
that would have been lost perhaps if you had stayed there.
Completely. He would have been my whole purpose in life and not supporting women and not healing voices and not it would have been he would have been all of my attention, all of
Yes.
my everything.
And
And
if that has not,
I was born for a huge, huge, huge vision and mission. I have
oh,
so much medicine to give. I have full
yes,
body chills.
I am like, yes, on fire at you speaking that truth.
Mhm.
And this is like the core of when you talk about your core piece, like this is my core piece of like women for generations have been sacrificing their gifts on the altars
Mhm.
of marriage and
Mhm.
supporting partners at the entire destruction and expense of themselves.
Mhm.
And this waking up to it doesn't need to be that way any longer. And
No.
it doesn't work anyways. Like
No,
what you
it
saw
doesn't.
was you no and I think that's that piece when we're in the marriage because I know for myself too when I was getting divorced I saw my partner making those changes
Mhm.
and we love often we love our partners or we care for them or we see their pain we want them to be able to work through it and we think if we stay and support them they're maybe going to figure it out but there is such a huge cost a cost that we as women have not been taught to value.
Totally. And it doesn't work for the world, for us, for the
Mm-mm.
relationship, for anyone at all.
No. And there is this big, I keep seeing it, this big wave of women moving out of those spaces and opening to I can both have my journey and I can have supportive partnership. It doesn't have to be an either or.
I apologize for the coughing.
I love it. Your family's back home, right?
Yeah, my dad is back.
I love it. I love
um
it.
It's yeah, speaking of my dad, we get into these discussions often about, you know, feminist movements and like how, the thought process back in the day and how uh we're trying to evolve, but also it feels like it'll never change
Mm.
or like everything's always going to be kind of geared toward patriarchy or making a certain voice more important than the other. But I'm a possibilitarian and I will always believe that it's change is possible. I mean, Mexico has the
Absolutely.
first female president.
Right? I have been so obsessed with her lately.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I love her.
yeah.
And when I get into that space, because I hear that too, right? As I've learned more about how much, this is not a new fight. This has been going for a long time. But I come back to the very like micro of my own life
Mhm,
and your life, right? And women
mhm,
that I know, clients I've worked with, clients you've worked with, where I see how, oh, if it can happen in one person's life and then we start cumulatively, right? You are living your life path.
mhm,
I did the hard steps of clearing out that programming, letting go of a marriage that ultimately would have meant the sacrifice of my life path.
mhm,
Same. I would have
mhm,
gone a very different route if I'd stayed married. And a part of me knew that. Like,
mhm, mhm.
I will give up this path if I stay. We then become these ripple effects that ripple out into the lives of those other women. And those women then ripple out into others.
Completely, completely. It's y- I I will never forget right before my wedding, there was all these
Mm.
emotions. Um, it was I think the day we were gonna leave to the desert, we got married in Joshua Tree,
Oh,
and
wow.
I sat with my dad and I was like, so he was my ex-husband was talking to me about a prenup. And I sat with my dad and I was like,
Mm.
please inform me, please guide me. I don't know, like what. And he has been blessed, even though he will say otherwise, but he's been blessed with three daughters and a very powerful mother. So he's surrounded by women,
Yeah,
very
powerful women.
opinionated, fiery, powerful women. And so my dad, although he comes from a very
Of
traditional
course.
macho
Yes.
mentality, he has evolved into sitting me down that day and saying, Mija, there is a lot of energy that he didn't quite use the word energy. I forget what word he used, but he said there's a lot of value that a woman brings that is not seen and is
Oh,
not compensated. And that you need to be careful with because what he's going to want to sign on is just like, the money that he's bringing into this relationship, but like he needs to recognize everything that you've brought that's underneath the table because we are muses, right?
yes.
How many women have
Ah,
come in and completely picked up their partners? So many of my relationships have come in and all of a sudden they're like, doing their best work, creating their best life,
yeah.
and then I have forgotten about myself. And so no mas.
Yes.
No mas. We grow together, baby.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Same. Same. I have noticed that in myself that for a long time I had partners where I would be doing really well, get into a relationship, and then it was like life became harder. I was struggling more. I was And just realizing, oh, yeah, there's a cost that comes when you're with partners who, and we talked about this a little bit before, and I do want to hear your opinion on this because we
Mhm.
were bringing up that like men right now are going through, it feels like the feminine is rising and
Yeah.
like we're here, make the
Mhm.
space.
Mhm.
And we're seeing in, at least I'm seeing in a lot of my clients, men that are like a good 5 to 10 years behind the ball on this work.
Mhm. Mhm.
And even being behind the ball, even on top of that, just under resourced around how to connect in with their bodies and heavily programmed to not do that. Right? Patriarchy
Definitely.
is so disconnected from presence in the body, sensation.
Yeah, I do think that we need to have compassion for them and to it's
Yeah.
tricky because I want to say
How would
empower them, but we've been empowering them.
that's what I'm saying. It is. It's this moment. It's like this very it's that moment of you realizing you cannot do this work for him. And so it's no longer about empowering our partners or supporting them or helping them because I feel like that's the very thing that has kind of created this handicap now
Mhm.
in
Mhm.
the masculine of needing us to always be activating and pulling them through the work.
I
And
do
now,
believe, sorry to interrupt you.
yeah, tell me.
I do believe that we can, or I'll speak from myself. I
Yes.
can work on being more of an invitation than
Mm.
than a fiery call forward. Let's just call it that. You know?
Yeah, and I cannot say anything about this because my approach has been if you're I finally just found a partner who calls himself forward. So that's the other
Yes.
option, right? Is my approach has been I need a partner who is grounded enough in himself for me to flourish.
Completely. It's a deal breaker for me. Like, I will no
Yes.
longer date someone. I'm in love now, and I'm so, so, so grateful. This person is
Oh.
evolved, great communicator, powerful, healthy masculine, all of the things, loves to see me shine, loves to fan my flames, loves it when I'm fiery, loves all the things, all the
Yeah,
things.
so this is what I'm talking about. Like
Yeah.
when somebody's not ready to evolve along with you and
Mhm.
you waiting or staying or supporting them or empowering or inviting them is leading
Mhm.
to your journey coming to a screeching halt and your mental health, like the blender. That's what we're
Mhm.
talking about, living in a blender.
Completely.
It is safe to say, this is complete. This is a divorce. We move on and we move into a space of trusting. Kind of like you said earlier, I love when you said there are strong men out there who can hold space for strong women.
Yes, absolutely. That get turned on by us shining and being fiery,
Yes. And
you
hell,
know?
there are strong women out there that can hold space for strong women. Like your
Yes.
there is a partner out there for you
Mhm.
that when you start deciding like I'm not going to be small anymore
Mhm.
to support someone else's growth. It's a leap, it's a risk, right? And I love that it doesn't sound like you took that journey so that you could go find that person. That journey presented itself to you, and what you've really leaned into is your journey.
Completely. Like this quote that I just keeps coming up as we're talking about this, it's our responsibility is to speak our truth, not to
Mm.
manage people's responses to our truth. That is not our responsibility. I
Ugh.
speak my truth. What I work on is my delivery. That's the only thing I can work on.
Oh, I
But
love that. I
I'm gonna speak my truth, and that is our responsibility.
I'm getting all this beautiful, like, when you're like, I can work on my delivery. I'm like, I could probably work on my delivery a little bit too. That fiery, just like, come
Mhm.
on now side. So,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely opening to the delivery. But I love so powerfully, like, it's about speaking your truth and letting go that other people are going to respond and you don't have to manage.
Yeah,
We're
we're gonna
such
ruffle feathers.
managers.
We're gonna ruffle feathers.
Ugh. Yeah.
Yeah. And we're
Yeah.
gonna make
Oh
people
my
mad.
God.
Fuck it. Fuck it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, because the alternative for many of us is living in the blender 24/7. That's what the majority of the women listening to my podcast, that's where they're at right now. They're in the blender, they're listening to someone begging them to stay when their body is telling them it's time to go.
Mm-mm.
So, what would be some of your advice to those women in that space? I know you already gave that gorgeous one of like, look, you speak your truth.
Well,
What
anytime
else?
you avoid conflict to keep the peace, you start a war inside yourself.
Mm,
I'm going to repeat that. Anytime you avoid conflict to keep the peace, you start a war inside yourself.
mhm.
And so, especially to people that have children, they are looking up to an example of honesty, of bravery, of like, this is, we're building our future with our actions, right? And so it's,
Yes.
it's so, I understand it's so much easier said than done. It's
Mm.
not easy to walk away when there is so much that has been invested and so
Yes.
much that's intermingled, right? So much that
And
is tied
programmed
together
the
and programmed.
psychological weight from your
Yes,
family's expectations, the world, the way you thought your life was going to be.
yes, yes. I've seen it with my sister has gone through a lot, and I've seen the psychological tying, manipulation, etc. But I will say that you will always be okay. You're so powerful.
Mm.
I think we forget how powerful we are. We're
Yes.
so powerful beyond belief. When we don't even know how powerful we are, we find it. It just comes, and the moments where we're like, I don't even know how I'm going to do it, we do it. And
Yeah.
the freedom that's on the other side of that is so delicious. What I'm experiencing right now is
Exquisite.
so delicious.
Can we
You
just
too?
vibe the
Oh,
fuck out about
it's
this?
so, 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 so delicious. From
Like
the universe
beyond.
rewards bravery, rewards
Yes.
bravery. Not bravery to
Yes.
stay, bravery to go.
Yeah,
That's the
bravery to
confusion, I think.
yeah, and well, and that's where you were at, right? You thought
Mhm.
the brave thing, you thought because of the
Yeah.
programming, you thought that what God was asking you to do was to stay.
Yeah.
What was to hang in there, to honor the commitments that you had made.
Mhm.
And where I've really landed is like you cannot honor a commitment to somebody else when you're not even being like committed to yourself first. And that's where we got it all mixed up as women.
Mhm.
We have been programmed to prioritize a marriage over ourselves, and many of us enter marriages, at least in my case, not so much yours. You were still pretty like developed and yourself, but a lot of women enter marriage not even knowing who they are yet. Many women get married young. They don't have a voice. They don't even know, they can't even speak their truth because they don't know their truth.
Completely.
So, what a gift when you say that bravery. It is hella hard. It is fucking scary to pick that path, to go on that path, to accept that path when it's given to you, right? The universe was like, no, babe, it's divorce.
Mhm.
But damn, what deliciousness it is, as you said, to live every fucking day as you,
Uh-huh.
now that you have done the path. When you choose bravery, what you get is you.
Yes. And it's delicious. It's so what I'm living right now is so like night and day. And
Yes.
I truly believe I wouldn't be here if I wouldn't have been brave enough to
Yeah.
leave.
Yeah. Yeah. For you and me, the stories are definitely where our discernment, our bodies ultimately found so much more connection and ability to listen outside of a marriage.
Hmm.
That's the other thing. It was just so hard to hear my body within my marriage. The blender was too loud.
Hmm.
All the triggering, all the trauma, all the drama. And to live now away from that, where,
Hmm.
you know, I kind of take it for granted, right? I'm like, oh my God, I get to live every day where, yeah, it's quiet enough in my home, in my environment with my partner that I hear my body really easily.
Yeah.
It's a natural part of my life now instead of something I'm like once in a blue moon experiencing.
Hmm. I'm so glad you brought us back to that because yes, I want to kind of circle back to summarizing the lesson
Yes.
here, right? Or like the tools, and those are to have
Yes.
the daily check-in. What are my current thoughts? What are my current emotions? And what are my current sensations? And continue to develop that every single day. In the beginning, the sensations, you're only going to maybe recognize one or two sensations like hot or cold. But then push yourself to recognize deeper sensations, right? Because then
Mhm.
when you're in the difficult situations, then you'll be able to hear your body when it's telling you leave, leave now, no
Yeah.
mas, like no more. Because when your
Ugh.
body's telling you no more, it's no more. Like that's it.
Mm.
Like
I love
there's no
Carmina
more
the
time for us to like allow our brain to come in and to try to convince us. No.
Yeah, and often we're kind of overdue by the time it reaches that point.
Yeah.
It's been telling us for a while.
Mhm. Mhm.
Oh, I am obsessed with you. I am just like, ah!
Oh,
I
I'm
want,
obsessed with you too.
we are just such a vibe together. I knew this was going to be yummy. So before we close, I want to spend a little bit of time. You are going to be doing a workshop in the community.
Yes. Yes, I cannot
And
wait.
I cannot wait either. This is one of the most like exciting pieces of having met you, was now getting to introduce you not only to everybody in the podcast, but for the women in the community. You're going to be leading them through a workshop. I think we picked, what was it, May 16th? It's on a weekend.
I think it's the
Anyways,
18th. Uh-huh.
18th. Yeah, it's
Mhm.
coming up. For those of you listening that have gotten to hear Carmina and that are wanting to be a part of that, please go sign up with Alex, get your interview in so that you can be in the community by that time, because I want as many of you listening as possible to get to be with her live. Y'all, I just got to spend all this time with you, and it's like it's that transmission, it's that magic that you have of sending those colors and that energy. Like, it's been such a beautiful body experience for me, and I'm so like obsessedly excited for you to be in the workshop. I'm going to be on the call and to get to be guided by you with the rest of the women into whatever the magic is that you're going to bring. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. I truly live for this. I really want every woman to feel powerful and brave enough to speak their truth and to take action on their
Yeah.
truth.
Yes, absolutely. And then I want you to tell, especially even for me, because now I'm like, I need more of you.
Yes.
Tell us about, I was looking on your website. You have a retreat coming up in October, right? The dates were
Yes, and the most
October 30th to November 2nd of this year. Where?
in the most beautiful small town in Mexico called San Miguel de Allende. It's called the most beautiful small town in the world by Condé Nast and Forbes. It's truly, truly
Oh,
stunning. It's a magical town, very mystical, and it has great energy. And it's going to be a powerful 5 days. There's already incredible women signed up, and we're going to dive in. We're going to peel back the layers, heal everything
mm,
that's been blocking our voice, everything that's been having us dim our light, all of the trauma that's connected to our voice, because I don't think we realize, but every single trauma we've ever experienced has been locked into our voice. And so we create these blocks in our voice canal. And so we're going to remove all of those so that when you leave there, full life transformation, complete liberation, complete liberation.
yes.
It's so powerful and healing and beautiful. It's really powerful
Oh,
work.
so is that one a women only retreat or is
Yes.
it co-ed? Ah,
Women
it's a woman
women only.
only space.
Mhm.
That's
Mhm.
really, really beautiful. I'm so excited.
I
Of
believe
course, we'll
the female voice has been suppressed long enough.
absolutely. That goes back to so many of the things we were talking about, right? Like this is our time. Like, okay, boys, but we're doing this. This is what we're
Yes.
doing.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I also want you to tell us a little bit about, because I know a lot of my women, may not be able to make it down there, but you have an amazing online program as well that's starting. Tell us about this. You said it's June 17th to July 15th of this year.
Yes, so that one is online. It's 5 weeks. It's like a boot camp where we go
Mm.
deep and we break through some of the trauma as well, but that's more of a boot camp where every single day we have a group, I mean, every single week we have a group call that I facilitate, and in that group call I give prompts, and you're in the possibility seat, you respond to the prompt, you receive feedback from the rest of the women.
Oof.
It's women only. And so by the end of the 5 weeks, you feel more confidence in your voice. You're building your confidence. It's for public speakers, for women that have been wanting to put themselves on video but didn't feel the courage and feel like super nervous to get on stage or on
Mm.
camera. And because I want every single woman to be seen and heard, and so no more
Yeah.
excuses, and that training will definitely get you prepared for that.
Beautiful. Because I know I've got a lot of women that have their own businesses that are wanting to start their own businesses. That's the other thing I'm noticing is like all these women are contemplating leaving their marriages and like want to go have like some big thing that they're wanting to start. And I'm
Let's
like, yes,
go.
let's go. Let's
Yes.
fucking go.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Let's go. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
let's
it's a really
go.
beautiful space. It's really healing as
Wonderful.
well.
Well, Annie, I just feel so excited to be exposing you to my audience, to be giving them an opportunity to also enter into these other spaces with you because you are pure magic.
Oh,
And
darling.
what a gift to on this podcast for you to share what it took for us to get to have this moment with you. Like, thank you so much for
Oh,
being a living example of exactly what we're talking about.
thank you. That means a lot. I receive every word. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I'm
Oh.
here to serve. And so come on, come one, come all. Let's free each other's voices. I'm so excited. Yeah. Thank you,
Yeah,
darling, for having
so
me.
so beautiful, Carmina. Thank you. Can't wait to see you in the community on the workshop, y'all. Hopefully, we will see many of you there. Till next time.